Hey, welcome back to the Addictively Speaking podcast. I'm your host, James. And tonight I was supposed to have a guest, and it looks like I'm not going to have a guest. And I've also been off of podcasting for, I don't know, the last one I recorded was July, and it's now September. So, yeah, things have been getting crazy. I've been busy. It's been very difficult to find time to sit down and record or to get people, um, who want to share their stories, locked in and ready to go. Um, so I've just been busy with working and my family and stuff like that. So it's become less of a priority to get people on the show. Um, Not to say that it's not a priority, it's just that it's been taking a lot longer. If you noticed, the beginning of the intro here is brand new. I've got a new logo. I've been doing some things to update the brand of the Addictively Speaking podcast. So I've still been doing stuff with the podcast, just haven't been able to be recording anything lately. I've also been like trying to get back into running and doing a lot more physical activity, um, to help my mental health and stuff. Been struggling for a while with that and got on some medication a couple months back, and it's been really helpful for me because I've been going through some stuff personally. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've also been like on TikTok with a couple people that have been in recovery, and I've been, chatting with them and hearing people's stories and just, kind of being out there with the people in recovery and finding out, what's going on other platforms, and hopefully looking at potential, guests in the future and things like that. So, getting people to transfer over from TikTok to come over and do something on the podcast, share their stories, to hopefully, inspire some people to get sober, find sobriety, and, be able to transform your life in a way that you never thought possible. Because, yeah, I just think, for a long time, I never thought it was possible. I never thought I'd have a life. I never thought I'd amount to shit. I never thought I'd, survive when I was really deep into it. So, finding hope afterwards and being able to build something after struggling for 11 years, um, it's been tremendous to see what I can accomplish with a clear mind. And not to say that it's easy, because it's not, you know, people that aren't in recovery don't really understand what it takes for somebody who's in recovery to just kind of like go through that battle every day, or to listen to those like voices in your head or all the things that are pulling you in that direction. Um, you know, it's a constant battle. I mean, it's not like even if you get like I'm 12 and a half years sober, going to be 13 in January, and it's not like the amount of sober time is like, oh, you're fine, you're cured, you're sober, you've been sober for 12 years. There are people that have been sober for 35 that relapse, that fall off the wagon. So it is just one of those things where it doesn't matter. You could have 50 years sober. It doesn't mean you're any less susceptible to having a relapse or falling backwards into, um, you know, these old habits or these things. Um, because for me, like when shit gets bad, if I get really bad or things are not good in life, like there's always that part of me that like the bad part inside that's always like, what'll fucking blow this whole thing up? What'll fucking ruin it all? Go out and have that drink. Tear shit down. And that's terrifying, to have that voice in your head that knows how to wind you up and get you like thinking about it, or, you know, putting those little negative, dangerous thoughts in your head. They just start ping ponging around. Sometimes I think like it's so loud in my head, with all the things that are going on in life, that sometimes I just wish it was a little quieter in there. There's a lot going on. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, like it is just one of those difficult things that somebody who doesn't understand what people in recovery go through on a daily basis. They think like, because you got 2 years, because you got 5 years, because you got 10 years, like it's not hard. Like, it's difficult. I mean, especially if it's like alcohol, because it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. Like, family functions, birthdays, Christmas, uh, just everywhere. I work in a retail shop. I'm around alcohol all day. Sometimes it gets spilled on the floor, the smell of it, that kind of shit is like, you just have to be like, oh, sometimes I have to like walk away or like go wash my hands instantly because of the smell of it, because it tickles something up there in my crazy little brain, makes me thinking, what nice. I also really find it, the further I get along in sobriety, the funnier it is when I watch like television programs of like where people are drinking or they're socially drinking, or I just think like, man, wouldn't it be nice to just be fucking normal and be able to control yourself when you have a drink? Like that would be so cool. Like to be able to catch a buzz and just like be cool like that. Like I'm not that guy. Like I don't do that. I've never caught a buzz in my life that didn't turn into like a complete fucking blackout, you know? Like a buzz, like a warm up. It's like that's like pre-game shit. Like I'm leaving my house buzzed. I'm coming home black the fuck out. Like I just really just blows my mind how like people just like, oh, I'll just have a beer. And then they like sip at it. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Why aren't you just chugging that? And then I realized like there's something wrong in my head. Like why is that where I go to? I was at a wedding recently and I did a little story on this because they had non-alcoholic options. There's like non-alcoholic rum or non-alcoholic gin or, non-alcoholic beer and cider and stuff like that. And I can't even touch those things. It freaked me out. There's something about it. It's just kind of like I couldn't do that. Just like the taste of it would be like, yeah, this is cool, but like, where's the real thing? Like, I don't know. I can't mess with it. But yeah, like I go to this wedding and I see people and they're having a drink and they're having fun and they're like, and I just think of every wedding I think I've ever been at when I was drinking. Like everybody's like having a sip and like I was fucking pounding alcohol at a ridiculous speed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I was just chugging shit, trying to get fucked up. Like that was the only intention I had. Like these people are drinking and they know that eventually they'll get drunk or eventually that they'll be, you know. But like I literally like sat out in the beginning. At the start of it was like I'm going to consume as much alcohol as possible in the shortest amount of space possible, you know? And I just feel like that's like the huge difference. Like even like I find myself like when people drink, like I'm trying to be like, I'm like, what are you doing? Drink that, chug that, drink it faster. What are you doing? Why are you sitting there drinking that by sips? That should be gone by now. I don't get it, you know? And everybody's like, whoa, calm down. And then I have to realize that not everybody has to smash beers and do shots and get super fucked up. That's just me. That's just what I did. That's just how I drank, you know? And I find that so strange. Like, why is everybody not thinking the way I think or you know, doing that type of behavior, and I realized that that's just me. That's just a wiring in my head. That's just where I don't have an off. I don't have a stop. I have a go. And then once I go, that's it, you know. And then I go too far, obviously, because it's landed me in a lot of trouble and it's gotten me into some, some pretty bad situations in my past, obviously, driving drunk numerous times. And not just driving drunk. Like, I'm not talking like I had a couple drinks. Like, I was well over the legal limit to be operating a motor vehicle. I mean, I probably should. I couldn't operate anything else. Like, why did I think I could drive a two-ton car? Like, no, I couldn't stand. I couldn't even put my shoes on. But obviously, I thought I could drive. So yeah. So those are some of like the really, scary situations that I put myself in. And to think about it now, I think, wow, what an idiot. Like, what were you thinking? I could have killed myself. I could have killed other people. Like, the ramifications are massive. But at the time, you know, I was trying to self-destruct. I was trying to destroy myself one drink at a time, over an extended 11-year period, until I got fed up with that. It just got to be to a point where I knew my life couldn't go any further in that direction. I mean, it could, but it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't have ended well. It would have been a horrible, horrible ending. I'd have just thrown my whole life away. Um, and I really don't understand how it all, it was just like right time, right mindset, right things were changing inside of my head, the way I thought about things. So yeah, I'm fortunate that I made the decision, and not only made the decision, but admitted a lot of stuff to myself. And I think that was like the real key, you know, to unlocking it all, is that I admitted to myself that there was something wrong, that I wasn't just saying it, you know, looking for validation from other people, like saying it to other people, going, "Yeah, I think I have a drinking problem," and waiting for them to go, "Yeah, you do." Um, because I kind of like hinted at that for like a couple of years, being like, "Oh, I think I have a problem," and everybody just be like, "Nah, man, no, you're crazy." And finally, when I just took it upon myself and was like, "You have a problem," like, period. This isn't normal. Normal people don't do this, you know. And then I was like, now I can take steps to change that. I can make changes, because I've just done the biggest thing. The hardest thing to do is admit fault in oneself, or to admit that there's something wrong. So doing that and owning that was like the key that unlocked the door for me to just be able to move forward, and to be able to like be like, "That's it, I'm done." And I did it like cold turkey. I just stopped. Um, which, now that I think about it, is like the total opposite of how everybody else really does it. There's a few people, that I've spoken with, that have just quit. Like I literally woke up one day and was like, done drinking. Sent out a text message to everybody. I was just waiting to hear back. Like, listen, I have a drinking problem. I'm done drinking. Please don't pressure me. Please don't ask me. Just please support me. And all my friends came back and were like, yeah, absolutely. If you think it's a problem, then we're here to support you. Which made it 1,000 times easier, because then I didn't feel like I didn't, because I wasn't looking for the validation in them. I was telling them, I was saying, like, listen, I have a problem and I need to fix it, and not being like, do you think I have a problem? Because at that point, I had enough. I had enough of going down that road. So I did start making those changes, and I did start living a better lifestyle. I started to, find things in my life that I enjoyed, um, which at that time was like doing like mixed martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, because I like to get into bar fights, and I thought, you know what? You know what tough people do? They go in and they get the shit kicked out of them, and they just keep coming back and doing it over and over and over again. So I went to an MMA gym, and I started training with some guys, and I'm like, I was probably about 230, 240, 240 pounds. Like I was big, heavy. Um, and I'll never forget it because it's like the most humbling experience of my life. There was a kid who was probably about 100 and I don't know, maybe like 130 pounds, and he absolutely fucking housed me for 5 minutes straight on the mat. He did whatever he wanted to. Guillotine, arm bar, knee bar. I mean, he was just took my back. It just absolutely spanked the shit out of me. I could pick him up and throw him. I was moving him around, but he just choked the fuck out of me. And I was just like, this is insane. How is this happening? I'm twice his size. But that's what made me fall in love with it. That's what made me fall in love with the fact that, like, you're not as bad as you think you are in the bar, you know, drunk, punching people in the face. The only reason I didn't care is because I was drunk. I punched somebody in the face to punch me back. It didn't matter. I was so drunk I didn't feel it. And if I did, it wasn't until the next day, broke my hand on a kid's head, knuckles, the boxer fracture. I didn't even know it until the next day. So it's like shit like that. Like I just thought, like, maybe I'll train to fight, like, whatever. I did that for like 3.5 years straight, just boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Did a lot of competitions, like did things that were definitely outside of my comfort zone that I didn't necessarily think I could do. I never thought I could go into a competition in jiu-jitsu and actually win. I didn't, not that I'm not good or wasn't good or anything like that, but like I just didn't think that was something that I could possibly do in my life. So then I started, getting in the gym with these guys, and they were all like super positive, motivated people, pushed me in the right direction. What do you know? I get in the mat, won my first tournament, won a couple other tournaments, and just continued competing, and then swapped to training in gi jiu-jitsu and won a couple medals doing that. Like, so yeah, like doing those things was massively huge in my recovery. Finding the gym and finding running was huge. But then it became like that kind of stuff became a bit of a trade one addiction for another. Like I had to be in the gym, I had to be running, I had to be ready to compete. Like I was like overdoing it, and I was overdoing everything. And I could feel it in my body as well. Like I was starting to get like, I ended up injuring my wrist, and like I broke my toe at one point. I ended up, having some injuries that because I pushed myself. And then I would, I'd be in the gym in the morning and I run 2 miles, and I come at night and I do an hour and 45 minutes of jiu-jitsu, and then I'd run on the treadmill for another 20 minutes at the end of it, or I'd do like a cardio circuit or a HIIT workout at the end of it. So I really like pushed my body to like limits that it probably shouldn't have, but I was like super focused on it. But like, and then even, as I further got down the line and I started working and getting better jobs and stuff like that, I had less time to do that. And I got into a relationship, and it started to slow down, and I found it really difficult to like moderate those situations, those transitional situations where like I could only do, the gym in moderation, or I could only do jiu-jitsu in moderation. Like if I wasn't there every single day, like I didn't see a point in doing it. Like, so I just kind of like stopped doing it for a while, and then I'd go back to it, and then I'd stop doing it for a while. So like, that's where I find like this little thing in my brain that says, Like you either go 100% or you just don't do it at all. And that's really like where I'm at now in my life, is like figuring out where that middle is, where it's acceptable to like, it's cool to like take a day off of like training and running and doing all that shit. But I found it really difficult to do that back in the day. Like I pushed really, 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 really hard on myself. I get anxious about it. If I run 2 miles, I get super anxious. I'd be like, dude, you can run 2 miles in 16 minutes. It's a small amount of your day. And yeah, I just really get in my head about it. I'm a lot better now. You know, I can do it in moderation. I'd like to do it more often than I do. Well, I'm back into it quite heavy recently, which has been nice because I've missed being able to run like that. But yeah, like I can take a day off and just be like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna take a day off and chill, or I'm gonna take a day off and spend some time with my kids, or whatever. But before, I really found it difficult. It really fucked me up mentally. Like, I really struggled with that. Um, it's weird, these things that you kind of realize about yourself when you get into sobriety. And I think as well, like the longer you're in sobriety, because like in the beginning, you're literally figuring out who you are as a person, because the person that you were, it, fucked you up, did some horrible shit, said some horrible shit. Then that person's gone now. That person's gone out of your life. It's different. You're a different person. But in being that different person, you have to find out who that different person is and who that different person is going to be. And what does that different person like? What does that different person stand for? What does that different person love? What does this different person dislike? What does that different person want to achieve? Where does that this different person want to go? Like, what are the things that are going to be that new person you're building? Because essentially that's what you're doing. You're starting from the ground up. You're just building everything, and you're finding out what your foundation is. What are some of the things you love? What are some of the things? What are some of the things that make you smile? What are some of the things that make you cry? So yeah, it's all like a building phase, and then like the further you get down into it, because you're so clear now and you can see, you know, I see a lot of, you know, I see a lot easier the dysfunction in who I am and like the things I do. Does it make it easier to fix? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make it easier to fix. It's still a lot of work. But that's the whole thing, is, recovery is work, whether we like to think so or not. Recovery, they always say the program works if you work it. And that's true. Like recovery is work, it only works if you work it. It'll only get you as far as it can if you do the work, you put the work in. Once you stop putting the work in, it all falls apart. So just remember, put the work, enjoy your recovery, build something beautiful for yourself. um I think that's what it's all about, is everything was falling apart before, and now it's not, and you can own better and make it beautiful, because recovery is a gift that you give yourself. Every day that you're sober is a gift that you've given yourself. I get to see my kids grow up and become beautiful little people that I've helped create, that I've helped raise. And I couldn't have done that if I wasn't sober. I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to be a good father. I won't be able to be a good husband. I won't be able to be a good manager. I won't be able to be a good person if I'm not sober. So, continue to grow, continue to stay sober, continue working recovery, and continue supporting the Addictively Speaking podcast. I'm looking to get more guests. I'm looking to get more people on, but I need to be more consistent with this, sharing with you guys, talking with you guys, recording these episodes because it is important, whether it's just me talking or it's a guest sharing their stories and their struggles and their triumphs with you. So if you haven't already, there's going to be a subscribe button on the YouTube. Click that. For any more content, find us on all other social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. The links are all attached on the YouTube page. So please follow, subscribe, share this with your friends, share this with somebody you think is struggling. And thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.